Welcome everybody to a brand new video. Today I will be trying to explain to you the book by Albert Camus, The Stranger, which is an absurd novel. It's actually a philosophical novel. What happens is in a philosophical novel, if you've read Dostoevsky, you will know what a philosophical novel is. It is basically a novel that not only describes the situation of the character, but also delves into a philosophy and also explains a philosophical ground, which the author is trying to portray. In this novel, in his book The Stranger, Albert Camus is trying to explain to us the philosophy of absurdism, which, let me give you a short background of why this philosophy started. So back in the 19th century, in the 1800s, when it was declared that God is dead and that we need to make our own values, we need our own system of beliefs and etc. It was a huge mess. Europe was going through a disastrous age, and Europeans were strictly bound by understanding, what was happening. We don't know what's happening. And so people like Nietzsche came in, and then the analytic philosophers, everyone, they're trying to revive now. Oh, existentialism, it's at its peak. Kierkegaard was also an existentialist way before Nietzsche. But Nietzsche's actually now beginning to form, and, he gives his own theory, and he gives his own understanding, yada, yada, yada. Things go on, and we have philosophers coming in, existentialists, and everyone, Sartre comes in, and everyone's like, yeah, things are good. And then came in Camus. Camus' philosophy is basically this. What people are trying to explain to us, that you need meaning, or life has meaning, it's all stupid. When you strip life from faith, belief, systems, family, what exactly are you left with? Nothing. And this nothingness is what he called absurdity. Basically, what absurdism is that life is meaningless, and just live it. Don't go running around trying to say, I found the meaning of life, this is the meaning of life, that is the meaning. Camus he calls this revolt in his language. He says this is revolt against life. That life is meaningless, live it. Trying to find meaning in this and that, that's stupid. That's complete stupidity. And this was the take of Albert Camus. Now that we know what absurdism is, this novel is exactly Camus explaining absurdism. So, the book starts with, Mother died today. Or maybe yesterday. I don't know. Your mother died today. You don't know if it was today or yesterday. And he's Meursault, the main character, he's so emotionless that he doesn't even care. Mother died today or yesterday. I don't know. And what happens is, he gets a telegram. That's how he knows that his mother died today. Now, this setting is in Algeria, French-occupied Algeria, in the 1930s, 40s, whenever it was. And he lives in Algiers, which is a city. And his mother lives, or used to live, in Marengo. His mother used to live in Marengo. He gets a telegram. His mother used to live in an old age home, that his mother has died, and Meursault needs to come and attend the ceremony. And the book doesn't start with the ceremony. It starts with him saying, Mom died today or yesterday, I don't know. He says, okay. He gets the first bus to Marengo, and he rushes to his mom's old age home. Over there he meets the co-workers and everyone, and over there people are, upset, and they're like, he must be sad. Meursault doesn't give a damn. He's emotionless. He's sitting there, and this is not the stoic emotionlessness, which is basically you kind of still feel things, and Meursault is actually dead. He doesn't even understand what... Look, he's trying to string everything together, but it doesn't work. Okay, so he's just sitting there. He says, what am I supposed to do if someone died? Right? And what happens is he sits there, and all he does throughout that day is two things: sips coffee and smokes a cigarette. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's smoking and he's sipping and he's just sitting there, and people are like, are you okay? And it gets dark, and her mom's in the room in her coffin, and her friends come and visit. Some women were crying, weeping. Some people would come in, they would see the face, they would go out. Come in, go out. Come in, go out. Meursault's just sitting there. And the man who's I think it was the head of the place or whatever, he was sitting with Meursault, and he would come and go as well, but very rare he was sitting with him. And Meursault isn't doing anything. He's not even crying, he's not even weeping, he's not even moaning, he's not even saying, this and that, nothing. Sips his coffee and smokes a cigarette, and the man says, this is it. The next day, it's morning, and he has to go and... for the funeral to be completely attended. Meursault gets up, and with another man, couple of people, and they go to the place. Mom's buried. Meursault is over there. He still shows no emotion. And right after that, he gets his ticket and goes back to Algiers, to where he lives. And on that day, he meets, the day he buries his mother, he meets his co-worker, Marie. And when he meets Marie, he goes to the beach with her, and they take whatever in the beach. They're having fun over there, and Meursault doesn't even give a single damn that his mother died. Then he goes to the cinema to watch a movie with Marie. And they do it. They do watch a movie, and they come back. You see, this is the absurd life. He's just living life. He knows he's gonna die. He's born without someone questioning him. No one asked nobody to be born. And he's gonna die someday. And he knows that. We all know we're gonna die. And Meursault says, this is life. Live it. This is life, okay? Just live it. He comes back to his apartment. He meets a guy, Raymond, who lives there. Raymond is a pimp. And Raymond calls Meursault in to come and sit with him, and Meursault says, okay. He doesn't care. He sits with him, sips coffee, they're talking here and there. And Raymond asks him to write him a letter. To whom? To his mistress. Raymond's his mistress. Why? Oh, because he beat her, etc., and she did him bad, and she... whatever not, it was a terrible letter. And Meursault agrees to it. Why? Because he doesn't care. He doesn't need reason. Any reason. Whatever you say to him, he'll say okay. Or no. Depending on... he doesn't care. He doesn't give them really any value of any sort. He just lives life. Okay, he's living there. He writes him the letter to the woman, and... the woman, Raymond's his mistress, who was an Arab. Algeria Arab. They're actually not Arabs, but they say Arab, then fine. They're Africans. And the woman comes by the next day, and they're shouting. And on that same day, Marie and Meursault, they were together, and Marie asks... this is a very weird thing that Meursault says. Actually, not weird. It makes sense, but Marie asks Meursault whether he would marry her. Meursault gives an answer which has... it. You know what he says? He says, it doesn't matter. I would have said yes to any other woman. The woman loves him. She's romantic. And Meursault says, you know, you and I will get married. But before that, Marie asks Meursault, do you love me? And he says, well, I don't know. I don't know if I love you or not. I don't really know. And it shatters her heart. She gets upset, but then she asks, will you marry me? And he says yes. And then he adds, I would have said yes to any other woman. It wouldn't make a single difference. That's how the man is living. Anyway, they both are in the room. Raymond, there's some voice coming from Raymond's apartment. Police is called. Turns out he was beating the woman, his mistress. The police slaps him, and Meursault is called by Raymond. And Raymond says to Meursault, will you testify for me? Will you go with me? And will you say that, yes, Raymond is a really goody-goody guy? And Meursault says, of course, sure, I will. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And so they both go to the police office. He gives a statement, and they leave. What does this show? Well, this basically shows that it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter whether you're going with the Raymond or with Meursault. To Meursault, it doesn't matter. That's the primary thing. If he would go to jail, if he wouldn't go to jail, it doesn't matter. He's just a free spirit. He's like, I don't care whether you're anything. It doesn't matter to me. Okay? They come back home, and now is the time for Meursault, Raymond, and Marie to go to Raymond's friend's house, which is basically at the beach. So they have to take a bus. And the people say, okay, Raymond, Meursault, and Marie agree. And Meursault and Marie get into the bus, and Raymond follows, and he's, the pimpy style, really luxurious, really whatever, and they all get in the bus. But they see two Arabs following them. One is the mistress's brother, and the other, of course, might be his friend. And Meursault doesn't really care. Raymond doesn't care. They go to his friend's house. He has a wife, the friend. Beautiful house at the beach. And it's hot. Algeria, it's hot. And they go to this pool. They eat, they feast, they do everything. And they're quite hospitable. They give them everything. The friend and all of them, they also go to taking the beach. And at this point, the Arabs are there. So they retreat. And I might get this part wrong. I think Raymond gets a hand-to-hand with them. And Raymond gets his ass busted. And then I think he comes back. And he's really mad. He's really terribly mad. And Raymond wants to kill this guy. Or maybe beat him. And Meursault, he follows along. So Raymond leaves the house. And he's injured. And Meursault, he follows Raymond. With a gun. The guys are there. They're both staring at one another. All of them, 4 men, staring at one another. And nothing's quite happening at this point. But then there comes a point where Raymond is sitting, I believe, and Meursault runs up to the rock behind which the Arabs are, and he shoots the brother of the mistress 5 times. 5 times he shoots him. Kills him. And that's the first half of the book. In part 2, he is arrested and he's taken to jail, and over there he's basically in his prison. Now in the beginning of his prison life, he's very upset because he misses Marie. He doesn't sip coffee, is not taking coffee, drinking coffee in the prison. And he also misses cigarettes. These are the three things that he misses, nothing more. Just the three things that this man is missing. And the rest is just living. And slowly and gradually he forgets the time, and he doesn't know what day it is, what date it is, and he's just living his life over there. And Meursault is doing nothing but just spending his time. And his lawyer, who is with Meursault, he gets sick of Meursault's attitude that he's emotionless. And the lawyer's like, you need to show, you need to show guilt. You need to show that, oh my God, it's my fault. Meursault says, nah, this is who I am. You see, the thing is that this book, this novel, is filled with writing of basically, Camus doesn't exaggerate anything in this novel. He basically puts whatever is the way life is. And Meursault is an emotionless creature in the sense that he doesn't give an exaggerated shit. Mind my language. Sorry. He doesn't give an exaggerated damn about anything. He doesn't care whether life is being lived, whether life is not being lived. He's just living lives, taking steps one after the other, and he's like, this is life. This is it. End of story. Nothing more. And everyone hates it. Everyone dislikes what he's doing. And so the court calls him, and the court says, is the man guilty? And they do not find him guilty on the charge of the murder. So the murder is not the point at the moment. They forget that. And this is what's happening in the novel. They forget the murder. So one might ask, what was he arrested for? The murder. And now why, if the murder is gone, if it's not really the charge, why is he in the prison or in the court? The court wanted Meursault, and this is a very important point. This is an attack on society, on culture, on communities. Meursault didn't even care. Meursault didn't even bother giving or showing his exaggerated emotions the way we do. And the court finds him guilty for that. There are three main things, the way I have listed them. 1, he's a disbeliever in God. 2, Meursault doesn't show guilt. And 3, Meursault is an emotionless creature, a man who doesn't show his emotions. Catch him. Find him guilty, kill him, and that's the way he should live life. And everyone is like, oh yeah, he's guilty. Find him guilty, kill him, whatever. He's just guilty, that's it. And the court case goes on, and there comes a time when people are called, and this is a very funny thing. The people who loved Meursault, like Marie, she said he's the best guy and we're getting married and he's not emotionless creature, he's this and that. And she would look at Meursault every time his hearing was, and she would get hope and she would get excited and she would say, oh, my to-be husband will be released. Raymond comes up, Raymond says, well, he's a good lad, he's a good guy, yada yada yada, of course he's kind of a friend. Everyone comes in, a lot of people, and then comes in the people of, there was actually another guy, he was a secondary character. The guy was, he was this guy who ran a restaurant, and Meursault would go there. I think he went there with Marie as well one time in the novel. Anyway, he also comes in and he says, the kid is a good kid, the kid is a this kid, and they all go in. And then comes in the people of the old house, old age home people. And the staff says, this guy didn't even cry on his mother's funeral, and he's this and he's that, and it's a hassle. And Meursault is just sitting there, he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, of course that's true. And the court finds him guilty. And when they find him guilty, The lawyer even told Meursault to kind of, be a bit present, but Meursault doesn't care, like I said. And when the case was gonna be over, Marie was sitting there, and they said Meursault is guilty for being beheaded, for not showing. Well, there were three major concerns: A, not believing in God; B, emotionless; and C, 3, not showing guilt. And so he's found guilty, and he should be beheaded. That's what the court says. And well, who's gonna fight the court? Not me, not you, no one. And so Meursault goes to his jail, and this is his last moments. These are his last days, and the book is also ending at this point. And so what happens is Meursault is sitting in his prison, and he thinks of it, life's meaninglessness, and he agrees with it to himself that life is truly meaningless, and there is actually no meaning to life, and the people who say, well, life is meaningful and it's this and it's that's stupid claim. And he kind of looks at the abyss, and the abyss stares back at him, Nietzsche's quote. And Meursault looks at it, and he says, I'm ready, I'm prepared, come at me, I don't care. And that's what Meursault does. And the novel ends very beautifully, and it's kind of ends with leaving the readers in question and ambiguity. It's like, what happened? What's gonna happen next? We don't know. Anyway, but it's a very beautiful ending. So a priest comes in, and he sits with Meursault, and he looks at Meursault, and he says, before that, the prison said, do you need a priest? And Meursault declined. Of course, doesn't believe in God. And the priest comes in, and unannounced, unwantingly, and he says, oh, you should accept the Lord, and this and that. And Meursault gets mad, and he rushes at the priest, and he holds him, and he says, life is meaningless, and there's no meaning to life, and you are trying to paint my whole life by saying, oh, there's meaning to life, and you need to be somehow in some way, and yada yada yada, and this is the way to live. And he gets mad at the priest. And the policemen come in, and they separate them both. And I think the priest gets mad, and he said, oh, you don't have redemption, whatever. And the novel ends like that. Meursault doesn't believe in God. He's not guilty, and he doesn't claim to be correct or anything. He's just living his life. And that was Camus' idea of the absurd life. This book left a weird kind of place in me. I was like, holy smokes. I would watch memes on it, and it would say mother died and yada. I was like, what does he mean by that? And now I understand it's a huge philosophy. You see, he's not forcing anyone to do anything, Camus. He's basically painting the life of Meursault the way Meursault doesn't force anyone on anything, and Meursault just lives his life the same way Camus is trying to say, live your life. And all these religions, faiths, systems, philosophies, everything, basically this is Camus' attack on it. Societies, you don't really need, and he says, well, what exactly am I going to do with it, right? And that's how the novel ends. So, viewers, that's how it was. It was I loved the novel. And do not even get the hint that this video will make you understand the novel completely. This isn't even 10% of the whole novel. Okay, it's 26 minutes video. Half an hour of a video, and if I say, oh, well, it's a good novel, and this, and I've given you a summary, no. You need to sit with the novel, and you need to think about it. That's how you understand. That's how I do it. I've written many books, and the best way, I've also listened to analysis and summaries of scholars, but no, it's not the best way. The best way is to sit with the book, take hours, days, months, years, however long the book is, and then call it, okay, it's finished. And you still won't get it. But Camus' novel is very easy. It's a novel, so yeah. That was the video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you in the next one. And till then, take care of yourself. And bye-bye. Bye.